So this week I'll have a bit of a different thing that I'll be talking about, because normally I'll talk about something that's going on. Well, it's again the bin collection days are the biggest things, and don't want to hear about that again. So the thing I'll talk about today is why bin cleaning. What's the big deal with bin cleaning? So we'll have a look at. I just love doing it. So we'll have a look at bin cleaning as a whole, starting it on your own, and having a franchise with us. So overall, the biggest things that have affected me doing it for 17 plus years now is it's the security of the work. And I've never felt so secure in anything I've ever done before, and I've had other businesses before that have done okay, but this is far more stable, secure, and there's sort of less pressure of where the work's going to come from. So that's a huge deal, because we can definitely pick on our system virtually any day in the future and know exactly where you're going to be, how much fuel you'll use, how much time you'll be out, how much money you'll earn, what time you'll be out, what time you'll be back. Of all the things that I've done as being self-employed, this is by far, it's head and shoulders above anything else that I've encountered in terms of stability. And that's a big deal nowadays, I think. Now, on top of that, I would say, or as well as that, it's the lack of stress. Now, obviously, we are going to be less stressed than people who've not done this for as long, but overall, there's a lot less stress because we keep up to date with any wheelie bin news, and as far as we can tell, which is pretty far, I would say, because I don't just look at this country's news, I look at other countries' news, and there doesn't seem to be any possibility of wheelie bins being replaced by anything. So that's quite a big deal, that is. And there's so many manufacturers of them, and there's so many different sizes, and they're just everywhere. So for those to be replaced would cost an incredible amount of money. So many things would have to change other than the wheelie bins themselves. And then where would you put all of them? There's millions of them. So from that point of view, I think they're going to be around for a long time. The next thing is looking at AI, isn't it? Because that's going to be relentless, the progress of that is. And it's only going to catch up with us and what we do and what you might want to do. I hope you do, because it'll be nice to see you. Come with us. Is that it's going to take a robot to replace us doing this. So that means it's a robot that's got to drive the car, drive the truck, operate the machinery, make decisions about where to go. Because yes, you may have a set run, but that does not mean it's going to go like clockwork on that day. If the bin men have had a breakdown, then you've got to think on your feet. So the chances of a robot replacing what we do, and a cost-effective robot, that could be, who knows? I mean, we're certainly talking decades. So that's the stability part. The other part is it's a good living. I certainly wouldn't have been doing it for this long if it wasn't, quite lucrative, because it is. Okay, there's actually a lot of secret sauce that we've come up with that gets that profit as high as possible, and that's a big deal. And so that's another good part of it. And the other thing as well is it's the barrier to entry of this particular business. So you can certainly start this on your own, but you are going to have some serious barriers to work through to earn a decent, steady living at this, because you're dealing with numbers. And when you're dealing with numbers of cleans, you need to have communication with your customers. You need a client management system. You need equipment that allows you to do a certain amount of bins per day and different sizes of bins, because you have to do a certain amount of bins to make a certain amount of decent profit. And you are going to struggle to make that kind of machinery on your own. I've personally tried so many different types of machinery that are out there, and I am going to say this anyway, but our machinery, for me, it's just in a different league in terms of reliability and the effort needed to do it, and the cleaning off at the end of the day, and the durability. It's just in a different league to anything I've used, and I've tried some expensive bin cleaning equipment, and no, not for me at all. So those barriers to entry. So, and also another barrier to entry is, apart from just client organisation, because you've got hundreds of customers, is that's going to mean thousands of payments. So how do you get that in and record it in such a way that you're not spending more time dealing with payments than you are cleaning the bins? And also, you've got to think about it from the customer's point of view. You don't want to make it hard for them to pay you. That's got to be as easy as possible. So, and then you've got the weather. How do you deal with the weather? You've got vehicles that your equipment is on. There's just a lot of barriers to entry to this business. And the interesting thing is, it looks really easy and simple to do. And it is if you do 10 a day, but you cannot survive on 10 a day. When the numbers ramp up, that's when it gets serious. So the plus points of this job, as a quick recap: the stability is just incredible. The confidence you have in it is incredible. And for the amount of stress and hours you do, this can be a good living. It really can. And because stress-wise, the biggest amount of stress you'll get once you're set up and have a franchise with us. I'll come back to that, because if you don't have a franchise with us, there's going to be loads of stress. But anyway, it's these bin collection day changes that we are dealing with, and it's not that hard. It just means that there's going to be a couple of months where you can't follow the bin men round as quickly as you normally do, because you don't know the route yet. So the main thing is with our franchises, you've got all that knowledge, and the other thing is you research the numbers yourself about the chances of succeeding as an independent new business and the chances of succeeding as a franchise. And from memory, I think they're about, in the first few years, new businesses, it's upwards of 50%, but that fail. And on top of that, the ones that survive, there's quite a number that don't make any money. And I couldn't believe that figure. But with franchises, they're much more likely to succeed because the structure and the niche and everything you need to succeed is already there out in that framework. And there's a lot of people who start their own business, and it can break your heart if it doesn't work. It can affect you for a lifetime. It's financially, mentally. Is it really worth it? And this is me being brutally honest about it. If there was a franchise like ours that existed when I started doing this, and I had the sense to realise it, which I probably wouldn't have done at that age, I would have literally made more money, had less stress, and wasted less time if I'd have had a franchise. And then, you might have the franchise for 15 years, 10 years, and sell it, because we can help you sell them. It's going to be worth a significant amount of money once you've got a number of years accounts and proof of running. So it doesn't even make sense, really, to start on your own from that point of view. So, yeah, it's going to be it's just far easier. And also, the other thing that you want to research is there are serial franchisees. There's people out there, there's companies out there who run multiple different types of franchises. And I didn't even know that was a thing. But research that, because they're very good at picking a really good franchise. And it's basically turn the key and it just works. You just don't get that when you've been on your own. So, don't take my word for anything. Research these things yourself, because they're really quite surprising. And I think that'll be it. I'll wrap up this week and hopefully have something brand new to talk about next week. So have a good week.